All right, welcome to the Chronologically Gaming pre-show. We've been playing all the video games released back in September 1971, and we are now in December 1982. Playing all consoles, all computers, all handhelds, everything in the arcade, all over the world. And yes, we do emulate everything, and yes, we do play every single video game. That's the only way we can do it. To do all this with physical hardware, maybe that's why no one's done it before. Hey, Brian, welcome in. Hey, Marshall. So, yes, judging by my appearance, I'm in my 40s, so yes, I am too young to have experienced this generation of gaming. I became accustomed to understanding, getting the history and knowledge, and loving it, and so I ended up going further and further back, exploring the video games that were way before my time, and loving it. Hello, Mike. Welcome. I am an 80s kid. I am a Gen X grown up. If there's a Gen X grown up that's on the show too. Yeah, Brian, so I'm using a combination of a few things. I have a trackball, if we have anything that's using a trackball, you know, flip a mouse upside down kind of thing. And then I also have a combination of different joysticks. Majority of them I'm using are ones that will work correctly with Launchbox, plugging in, so the Xbox or PlayStation joysticks. But what I'd love to have is a genuine analog joystick, like Curtis was saying he has. Curtis is saying, go back to the tennis game, yes, on the oscilloscope. I did want to put some limit on when I start video games, because I thought of all that. If you've been to Moby games, they go all the way back to the 40s, but their definition of video game is a little loose, because you can say lots of it. Oh, my time was, the biggest time for me was Atari and NES, because for me, I got Atari when it was on clearance. It was great whenever I was into Atari. Everything was so cheap. And then when the Nintendo came out, I'm more of the Nintendo generation, so I have a soft spot for the Nintendo Entertainment System. But N64, it was cutting edge, but it wasn't like the sweet spot. The sweet spot is right there in between Atari and Nintendo Entertainment System for me. But I still enjoy Nintendo 64 and the 64-bit generation, the war in the 90s and all that stuff. Oh, man, yeah, first NES game I ever played was Super Mario Brothers. I don't remember how old I was, but I remember I walked into a daycare and they were playing Super Mario Brothers, and my first thought was, wait, you're controlling this character on the screen? How does that work? So I just stared and was amazed that this was television that you could control. Oh, there you go. Everyone's history with video games and computers is awesome, because my computer history is also different than my video game or console history. So yeah, I can see P. Warner put out 2600 and then 400 C64 PC. Yeah, there we go. Eventually get to PC. And of course, there's so many models of PC. Yeah, and if you're still in the gaming scene, most people are using, you know, Xbox, PlayStation. Yeah, if you go to the console world. And then Brian saying Atari 2600 started out with NES, was the console we were aligned to. Yeah. Kind of the same story as myself. Oh, there you go. Curtis throwing out the PET from 1979 for a computer. And then, yes, the Atari, which I loved in the documentary with Howard Scott Warshaw. They pointed out that the Atari was people's first experience with a computer. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I used to have a huge collection of physical hardware that I lost. And when I lost so much, I ended up giving a lot away. But I have a small museum of physical hardware. And I have been looking into misters and options for physical hardware. Oh, man, they had the Sega Master System as the first console? That's awesome. All right, it's showtime. Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Everything in the arcade, all handhelds, all computers, and everything on every system that we can play. These are the very first video games of December 1982.
This is Starcade, TV's first video arcade game show.
And we were last playing Airliner, or trying to play Airliner. Let's see what our next game is. We're in the United Kingdom a little longer. I'm playing on the Sinclair ZX81. This is Alien. No way, Alien? Ridley Scott's Alien? Let's check it out. Here's the box. Oh yeah, it's gotta be Alien. Look at the box. At least, is that 2 mouths inside of one? It's gotta be Alien. Destroy the aliens before he destroys your crew? Oh, look at that. That's pretty good, at least for the front of the box, or the cassette case, because everybody played video games on cassettes. Don't put this into your Walkman. Don't try to play the audio. Well, maybe a few of the games. All right, let's see the other artwork we have for Alien. Alien. All right, this one is only on the Sinclair ZX81. Only, and is the 91st video game we've played for this calculator-like micro. As far as the box goes, after that we have the cassette that we're going to be playing on our Sinclair ZX81, the tiny, tiny computer. And this is by PSS, Personal Software Services, the 6th video game we've seen by this company, popping out hits like Hopper, Crazy Kong, and Ghost Hunt. And there we go, we got an example of the screenshot. Oh yeah, here we go, let's play some Alien. This is by P. Merriman, published by PSS at the beginning of December 1982. The very first time we've seen P. Merriman. Way to go, P. I don't really know his full name. Do we want instructions? Oh, yes. Yes, we do. How in the world do we play in this one? You are on board the transport ship Nostradamus, not to be confused with the Nostromo. Earthward bound when you pick up a Mayday signal from a nearby planet. When you investigate, you discover an ancient alien ship. And while exploring, one of the crew members is attacked. You manage to get him back to the ship with a strange living creature attached to his face. Eventually, he dies, and the alien organism, which has been growing in his stomach, escapes and grows at an incredible rate. Earth forbids you to return with the creature still alive, so you must try and kill it. The game simulates your attempts to do so as you stalk around the craft, hoping the weapon you have picked up will work against the creature. Wait a second, so this is not a licensed game based on Ridley Scott Alien, but that story is the closest story we've seen to Alien. It's even closer than the Atari 2600 version that we've seen. So this one is obviously going to be inspired by the movie Alien. Up to this point, we played Aliens on the Commodore PET, Alien on the VIC-20, Alien on MS-DOS, The Alien by UMI on the VIC-20, and The Alien by Avalon Hill. The only real licensed Alien so far is on the Atari 2600, but this already sounds better than that one. All right, so I'm excited. Here we go. Movement is with these keys. Look down at your ZX81 keyboard. S corresponds to the position that you're at right now. All right, so ready? You're shown as a small flashing square. I wouldn't have it any other way on the ZX81. The various letters scattered around the ship are weapons. You don't know which particular ones until you pick them up. Oh, that's helpful. To do so, you simply move through the letter and you'll pick it up automatically. You can carry only one object at a time. The display will indicate the name of the weapon, though you won't know its effect on the alien until you try it out. So it's trial and error. That sounds a little bit like Alien. To leave the weapon, you press L. You will stop flashing and must press one of the direction keys, and it will throw that weapon in that direction, or you'll drop the weapon. In order to use the weapon against the alien, they have to be within 2 moves of you, and they must be in the room to drop the weapon, which you already do automatically after firing at the creature. All right, so wait, does that mean L is to drop and to fire? He must be in the room within... There must be room to drop the weapon, which you... Okay, so when you fire at the creature, then... Oh, there we go. F is to fire at the creature. You wait until you stop flashing and press a direction, and that's you using the weapon. The alien is also displayed as a single pixel, but can only be seen within about 10 moves from you. In general, it will move directly towards the navigation around its walls. This is intriguing. It also makes me feel like I'm actually playing Alien. The creature starts with 200 points, but any damage will decrease this value. When the points go below the 0, the creature is dead. All right, so when all 4 members of your crew have been killed, the game ends. The square, which is energy barrier that only you can pass. Good luck. To start the game, press any key or press S, and then instructions. We want to start. Yes, let's play some Alien. And look in the chat. No, there was no backlog released today. We are in December 1982. Okay, so we're carrying nothing, and I am represented by a single pixel. There I am. I'm over there at the very front of the Nostradamus, not the Nostromo. So it's keyboard controlled only. I'm very slowly moving around. It almost feels like it's turn-based as I'm pushing the key. It feels like it's waiting for another turn or waiting for something. And don't adjust your sound. There is no sound because on the ZX81, no one can hear you scream. So this one is, I actually don't want to pass through the barrier yet. I want to see if the alien gets a little close because I have no idea where it is. I can't see it until I get close. Oh, there it is. I see it. Let's get out of here. I'm backing up. I think I was too slow anyway. So you can see the alien is coming near the barrier, but it can't cross the barrier. But if I sit here, the alien is moving. Yeah, it can't cross. So I'm not making any decisions or moves, which means this is not a turn-based game. This is a real-time game. It's very slow real-time. You know, it looks like one move at a time. It doesn't even look like, yeah, my movements can be simultaneous with the alien. Okay, so yeah, it's a real-time game. Very slow, but it's a real-time game, which means this is a very rare style of game. It is a real-time tactical video game. It's one of the very first we've ever seen, and I love that it's doing it with Alien. But how in the world am I going to get over where the alien is and go get some weapons? I know, Brian, they had to be really creative with this one. So of all the games we played that are like Alien, this one's the closest to the movie we've seen, way better than the Atari 2600 version. And I love that the inspiration they're taking from. Okay, let's actually go try to... Oh, wait, can I go through the force field? No, the alien's going to destroy me. Oh, no. If you go through the force field, it lowers it, and then the alien goes through. A sickening ring screams throughout the ship. All right, so let's go quick. Let's go get some items. So I'm going to go make my way through the force field. Oh, I got to make sure I push the right button. And then I'm going to use the item and be ready to fire if the alien comes by, which means you have to keep your crew alive too. All right, let's head down. Let's see what I is. It is very, very slow. Okay, we got a welding torch. I don't know if that's going to help us. So let's go to the top. Let's see what G is, if it's something better. But you make your way slowly throughout the ship, and the reason I call it a tactical game is because I'm making the decisions for movement, and it's having to do keyboard controls. Like I have to make strategic decisions. All right, so that's right. I have to drop this in a room. It won't let me carry or won't let me pick up another weapon because I only have one at a time. Let's see if I can drop it right here. Let's do L and drop it that way. There we go. So I just dropped my welding torch. Oh, he's coming. Hope G's something good or we're going to die again. Oh, it looks like it's going in another room. All right, we got bottles of acid. I don't know if that's going to help because the alien's made of acid, but it may be randomizing it, where the alien dies from random things that you find. I know, right, Paul? Real time is really loose. I mean, this is real time when we consider December 1982, but there's nothing else. Fire, go. Slight damage. I think we stunned it. Okay, we got it. Let's go. Run, run, run. You can see the alien points, so we stunned it. Oh, it's right behind us. I think it's chasing us now. It is. The alien's running right after us. I'm just going to go right down the hallway and see what H is and see if that hurts the alien. We still have 3 members of our crew left, and while this is very, very slow and cumbersome, this is something different compared to all the other games we've seen up to this point, and it's a little special because it's based on the movie. I'm excited to play anything like this. All right, let's see what H is. H is a force generator. Fire, force. Oh, we got another sickening scream. That means it got us, which means we lost another crew member. Yep. So we get to play as each individual 4 crew members. At least it's not like The Alien by Avalon Hill where the crew members are in different places of the ship. Yeah, I'm with you there, Mike. It's innovative, but it's not like super fun for all the games you could play. If you were into strategy games or games that require a little bit of tactics, then you'd be into this. But it's very loose. It's like proto real-time tactical. Kind of similar when we played Battlefield. That was on the video pack. It was like a real-time strategy game, but very barely a real-time strategy game. So it's got a lot of things that you have to. Oh, we got explosives. Fire them. You got to use a lot of your imagination too. Yeah, there's no effect on the alien. Great. All right, so this was a fun little romp checking out Alien for the very first time. I wanted it to be like the movie. I really did. And it is playing as close as we can to the movie, but it is slow. It's a slow experience. Would you have fun with this? I would say yes, if you were in the right mindset or the kind of person who would want to play a game like this. On the ZX81, there are better, more impressive arcade games and a lot more fun games to play than this. So I would give this, if it was only on the ZX81, maybe an above average because of how intriguing it is. But we're rating this against every other home computer that's available right now. And I would say this is still around the average range. So looking over the chat, I get mostly average from James. Manley's given 5 stars because he just loved the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. Curtis is saying above average. Brian's saying 2.5. Oh yeah, we got all over the spectrum, mostly around the average range. For myself, I'm thinking 2.5 stars. For everything you could play across all home computers, it's interesting and intriguing. There is this randomness that may be a little bit cumbersome, but it is very, very slow. So I'm going to say 2.5 stars. Still an average game or around the average range for everything you could play on home computers right now. Alien. The Alien. I mean, before they got sued, I don't even know if they did or not. All right, let's see what our next game is. From one Alien game to another, our next game is Alien Swarm. This one is not to be confused with Alien Swarm that was on the Atari home computer by In-Home Software. We have too many games that have the same title. People need to make up new names. Here's the box for Alien Swarm. This is only on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum, and it is the 147th game we've seen for the Specky. And it's by Titan Programs. Look at that. It is a swarm of aliens. They're all flying out of the top. It's the 7th game we've seen by Titan Programs so far. And it's another one on cassette. We're playing video games on cassette. Here it is, Alien Swarm. Besides that, we have in Your Computer Magazine the top 10 games, at least from your computer, that are available right now. Flight Simulation on the ZX81 is number 1, and you see it's a mix of VIC-20, BBC Micro, and things like that. And this game is not on the list, just so you know. I know it might be a spoiler. All right, let's see what the manual has to say. Or a homebrew manual, if you will. The swarm are avowed to destroy the Earth at any cost, and you are the last line of defense in this battle of overwhelming odds. The swarm attack in 3 waves, each wave more deadly than the last. And I'll let you read the rest at your leisure. We're essentially going to have a wave of doodle bugs, and then a wave of luzzer bugs, and then laser bugs, and different enemies are going to be flying at us with different scores. Our controls are to move left, right, and fire. So Z, X, and fire. And we've seen that with shooters starting all the way back with Space Invaders. When you are eventually overwhelmed, how many alien swarm will you have destroyed? And it features all these different things. And this would have been on the inside sleeve, I believe, of the cassette case. May the Titan Force be with you. So this one was available. I have a few different versions. Let's play the first, Alien Swarm. Pop in that cassette by Titan Programs at the beginning of December 1982. All right, I'm ready to go. Push enter. I got my hands ready. It shows the Titan, and there you go. I'm moving left and right, and I can fire. Interesting. It is just a fixed shooter. It's move left, right, and fire. And my fire rate is surprisingly fast. I'm not able to pop out a lot of bullets at the same time, but I'm not doing something as simple as Galaxian. But we're off to a pretty good start. No one's died yet. Oh, there we go. Has a little break, and then it says, all right, you have 23 invaders left. We are on pass 2, so it changed the color a little bit, and it shows us our score. So this one's giving us a little reprieve from the action. Let's go in again, and look, it's changing the color. We're using all those colors of the Sinclair ZX Spectrum so that the kids in the playground can make fun of all the kids that are using the ZX81. And it does it again. We're on pass 3 now, and it shows 16 invaders left. So this is the 400th fixed shooter that we played on Chronologically Gaming. We've done it. 400 fixed shooters. This is the 231st that we played for home computers so far. And unlike all those fixed shooters that we played, this one doesn't play exactly like Space Invaders or exactly like Galaxian or exactly like Phoenix or exactly like Astro Fighter or exactly like Caterpillar or exactly like Mooncresta or Gorf. And in other words, this is not exactly like those games. I can't call it a true variant, even though, you know, it's pretty much close enough. In fact, I'm surprised you wouldn't call this a shoot 'em up because honestly, if you add a scrolling background then you have a shoot 'em up like we played in the arcade. All right, so let's keep going. This is pass 4. We're still doing okay. Oh, they're getting so fast. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna just play it safe. And then it's changing color every time. So a cool idea on the ZX Spectrum for an arcade shooter. Look at that. I like that. And then it passes by again. It says we only have 3 invaders left. We're on pass 6. This is pretty cool. So it's doing something a little different. And so a few examples of games we've seen that are doing something not exactly like all those others that I mentioned would be Star Mines on the Apple II, Defense Command on TRS-80, Alien Ambush on the Apple II and the Atari home computer, Galactic Avenger on the Atari home computer, Exit on the Apple II, BitBat on MS-DOS, The Black Hole on TRS-80, and Ming's Challenge on the Apple II, just to name a few examples. This one's doing something not like all the other fixed shooters. Oh gosh, that's so fast. Okay, so we go to pass 7, still 3 invaders left. Whoa, it's going so fast. Now we got pass 8, 1 invader, pass 9. I think he got us. I don't know how many lives we have. And Marshall brings up Threshold. Yeah, it is kind of like that, a little bit. It doesn't have that meter for if you fire too much. Oh, and we did it. We go to the next round, and now it's changing the enemy types. That's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm having a fun time playing this one on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. This is pretty special. The way that the enemies go from the top of the screen and fly down works good. So end of game. Put your name above. Can I do just 3? And then another game? Yeah. And then it starts over again. So I want to see, yeah, how many different enemies are part of this one. This is pretty nice. Sci-fi themed game. Very generic, but a fun arcade time that you would have on your ZX Spectrum. How far can you go? How many enemies can you see? 35 invaders left, it says here. I like that they're using the color. That's pretty good. Curtis has already thrown out 3 stars of all the games you could play up to this point. Yeah, I know. And couldn't saying too much pausing. Every time you die, you get a break. Ah, see? Take a breath, and then when you're ready to go in again, then hit enter, and then you're off attacking again or dying again. Nice. So this one is that game that could be a shoot 'em up or scrolling shoot 'em up if they had a background, but I had fun. Alien Swarm's all right. Of all the games you could play across all home computers right now, this one is, I would say, pretty much right down the middle. It's a very average video game for everything you could play up to this point. On the ZX Spectrum, this is pretty fun. I could say 3.5 or 4 stars if it was only on the ZX Spectrum, but since this is going against everything on all home computers, even James is saying a little bit lower with 2 or 2.5 stars. If you're just now tuning in, the rating system is based on right now, December 1982. And if you say this game is broken, you'd be somewhere in around the 1-star range. If you say this is a bad game, this would be somewhere around the 2-star range. If you think it's pretty average against all the games that would be released on all home computers right now, it'd be a 3-star game. If you think it's really good, an above average or excellent game, it's a 4-star game. But if you think it's one of the best games you could play on all home computers right now, you're somewhere around the 5-star range. So yeah, I got 1.5 from Mike going way low, 2.5, 3 stars. Yeah, I had a pretty good time. I wouldn't call it bad, and I wouldn't say around subpar. I'll say 3 stars for all the games you could play. There's a lot of shooters out there, but it's still all right. This is average, an average game in December 1982. And then Brian's thrown out 2.5 stars. All right, let's see what our next game is. Oh, that sound means it's time for another Star Trek variant, and oh man, do I have a special one for everyone that's a Star Trek fan, or fans of these games. This is all cast Star Trek, one that is most likely not penetrated the Western world of video games. Let's check it out together. All cast Star Trek. This one is only available on the NEC PC 8801. It's the 16th video game we've seen for this line of home computers, as well as the 8000 series of computers. And this one is by Hudson Soft, the 10th video game that we've seen by them up to this point. Now, the front of this box, I don't even know, this is the best one I could find, but look at this. It's an actual screenshot of the game, but it's tilted on its side. Very, very strange. I don't know if it's like pieced together, maybe taken from a magazine. I'm not quite sure. There's the cassette we're going to be putting into our PC 8801 to play all cast Star Trek, and then that's it. And then we just have an example of the screenshot. I have no other information whatsoever. We're going to Japan and playing this one by M. Kasuya, released in the beginning of December 1982. Very first game we've seen by M. Way to go, M. I'm not sure. I have a few guesses on who it could be, but I'll just keep it what it has in the video game. Ah, space, the final frontier. I don't remember it being so colorful. It looks really nice. And Manley says he would have bought it because of the cover. All cast Star Trek. Look at this. This is high quality. Look at that Enterprise. This is one of the best looking Enterprises we've seen ever. Oh my gosh, they weren't kidding. Look at that. There is everybody. The whole cast of Star Trek is here. Wow. And I don't want to cut Uhura. There we go. We can press any key to continue. So everyone is here. The whole cast of Star Trek. This is another variant of Star Trek from 1971. This is the 71st game we've played that is a variant of Star Trek, or a fan game of Star Trek. It's inspired by the TV series, obviously. And this one's going to play like those other Star Trek variants. It's randomly generated. It has the time constraint. But we get to set this up, kind of play the way we want to play. So I love this drawing, though. This is like next level computing right now. Right? Isn't this impressive? Wow. Okay, so now this is going to ask us a few questions about how we want to play the game in Japanese. So I'm going to do my best to answer. We're going to say yes, I want to do everything. Then it asks, how many Klingons do you want to play with? Which is kind of nice. I want to see and experience Klingons. So I want 50 Klingons, which means we're going to die. But otherwise, we'll be... I did on my playtest a few times where I just said I wanted 1 or 2 Klingons, and then I'm just roaming the galaxy and nothing happens. But I want some action. I want to see something that happens. And then it's going to ask how many years. Usually when you play a Star Trek game, it's how many years you have from the start date. This is giving us the option, which is already a plus, considering all the other games were based on the 1971 mainframe game, and you didn't have an option. It just said you have, I think, 30 years or start date years. So I'm just going to say, give me 60. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, this is crazy. And then how many bases do you want? Bases are going to help you in the game. So let's crank it up. Can we do 10? Give me 10 bases. But those options right there are great. And then look, Uhura shows up and tells us we got Klingons in this area, what the start date is. In other words, giving us a status report. But that was Uhura, the picture of Uhura, and she's giving us the communication report. And then we also have on the same screen the long-range scan in the top right, and then the short-range scan in the top left. So I guess you don't need those commands. It's right here. And there we are. Oh, we actually happen to be in no space. In the top left, E is for Enterprise, where we are. And then your commands are going to be 1 through 6. You just use the number key. So we got our energy here, photon torpedoes, and then McCoy gives us an update, and Spock talks to us. This is so cool. With the picture of them talking, that's just, the presentation is so good. Considering we've played, this is the 71st Star Trek game, we've never seen a Star Trek game that does this. We have seen plenty where they talk to us. The crew has their name and they talk to us with text. And obviously this is in Japanese, so you have to know what they're saying. But this is so good. Look at this. They're giving us reports, and I think he's upset because we're not answering. All right, let's go ahead and do a command. Let's warp around here. So I'm going to warp. Scotty says, where are we going? And I want to do course. Let's go to the right. If you look at the long range scan, we got something to the right of us. So let's go course 1.0. And then warp factor. This is how much we're going to move. Since we're already on the edge, our E is on the edge on that side. I'm just going to do a warp factor of 0.5. Warp 0.5. Engage. Do we get any animation? No, we don't. So you can see the Enterprise left from the short-range scan, then we moved over one side, and now we're on the next quadrant in the long-range scan. Any Klingons here? No, just a few stars. Those are the asterisks that show there. So this is the very first video game, after all the role-playing games, all of the adventure games, where there are character profiles, like pictures of the character while they're talking. We've never seen any video game do that. This is the very first time. That's already impressive in itself. Plus, this view is a little different. They're giving us more options to see everything in the Star Trek style game. Now, after 71 Star Trek games, you'd think I'd be a little bit tired of them, but this one infuses, it revigorates. Look how much is displayed on the screen that you can see. I think Spock's trying to get us to talk to him. I know, right? I'm amazed that I didn't even know this one existed. In fact, if you look this up, you can only find a few people that play this online if you do the search in Japanese. So if, after this episode, You go to all the games we played, the spreadsheet, the Google sheet that we have. I will have the Japanese text. If you want to peruse this game further, even see even more of the game being played, and obviously get translated. I don't think there's any fan translation of it, but you can translate it yourself now. But I'm just amazed that this exists. So let's do some more commands. That's really fun. All right, let's go with... I answered Spock. It shows us how many years left, what our start date is. It's so good. I know it would be great if we had an English version of this one. To my knowledge, there's not one. I've found a few fan translations of other games on NEC computers. This one, I couldn't find anything for it. Okay, there's our status report. That's nice. I think we have photon torpedoes here. Yeah, how much energy do we want to shields? Let's do 200. So I'm playing Star Trek, but I'm loving the presentation. It's top notch. And Brian's saying if it was in English, it'd be 5 stars. That's awesome. All right, let's go ahead and do a command to go. Let's go to the next quadrant. Oh, it looks like we have a lot of stuff happening. Let's say yes. I want to go to the right again. So I'll do 1.0. And let's go warp factor. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. That should be, let's do 2. Warp 2. Engage. Let's see what's in the next quadrant. You can see our little E moves over to the side. So it is missing a few animations we've seen from other Star Trek games. Do we skip the whole... I think we skipped it because I went too far. But you can kind of map out... Oh, there we go. We got a base. So a star base here if we want to refill energy, relax up to that. And then over in the chat, yeah, we already got some great ratings that were thrown in. I would love to keep playing all cast Star Trek. You could see what they were going for, and it makes me wonder what other Star Trek games was Japan exposed to that they played this, because I didn't even know it was popular or this was a thing in Japan. But apparently it was, because this was made. And wow, it's good. This one is a highly rated game. I saw people mention English. If it was English, it'd be even higher. The best Star Trek we played so far on all home computers has been Galactic Attack on the Apple II, Star Trek 3 or 3.5, Video Trek 88 on MS-DOS, Dragon Trek, and Space Warp on the BBC Micro, just to name a few of the best of the best. This one might rival all of them so far. So over in the chat, it looks like we got some 4 stars that are out there. Curtis is even saying 4.5. James is saying 4 for the presentation. Jeremiah Manley's saying 5 of all the games you could play. Man, yeah, because it's doing something with the presentation, it's really, really good. I was thinking 4, maybe 4.5 stars for everything that you could see on home computers, because it's a genre that we've already seen lots of games. There's even more Star Trek than we've seen from that, but yeah, I'm thinking 4 stars for everything you could play. I don't know if I want to call it the best of the best of all the games you could play on all home computers, but I do want to differentiate this from all the other Star Trek games. This one is the top notch. This is really, really good. So I'm going to say right now 4.5 stars. Of all the games you could play on all home computers, this one you would want to play. It's a great strategy game. Now, if later I learn on multiple playthroughs or from translations, if there's more issues that would bring it down, then I might say 4 stars. But for right now, I'm going to say 4.5. Yeah. And then Kun's like, I don't know, 4, 4.5, 5. It's just really impressive to play a game that looks like this. All right, after that, let's see what our next game is. We're back on the Commodore VIC-20. Our next video game is Annihilator. And you gotta love a name like that. We haven't played any video game with the name Annihilator. This one's the first one. I feel like we should have played lots of games with Annihilator. So this one is the 329th game we've played on the Commodore VIC-20. A lot of games that are out there. Annihilator. This box is actually the later box. Mogul released this game in 1983. Part of the reason I'm showing games that are released in 1983 is to hopefully have less games to showcase, because they were first in 1982 right here. But that is the later box. Here is Annihilator. The first time you would have seen it would have looked like this on the Commodore VIC-20. By Victory Software Corporation. This is the 9th video game we've seen by Victory Software, and it is going to be released in 1983 by Mogul Communications, the 3rd time we've seen Mogul Communications. Defend your planet with Annihilator. And there it is. We're playing more video games on cassettes, or at least that one is the 1983 one, with an example of the screenshot. All right, so this one we have both versions. I'm going to play the very first one by Victory Software. Let's pop in that cassette and play Annihilator by Mike Wacker, released in the beginning of December 1982. Way to go, Mike. I'm ready to play. It goes right into an attract mode. Very, very nice. This is the third game we've seen by Mike Wacker. He did Video Vermin and Metamorphosis. Both are pretty good games. And I already know what we're going to play. Let's go in and tear it up. It is digital joystick controlled. I hit escape to start. And yes, I'm able to... Oh, I can turn back to the left. And I can turn to the right. What's with the animation of the enemies, though? Whenever I shoot the enemies, they just drop off the side of the screen. It's very amusing. So in a way, I felt at first I was playing like Scramble or Super Cobra, but then I could turn around. But when I turn around, the enemies don't do anything. Oh man, this is another one of those contenders for. It's a game that's based on Defender because you can move your craft back and forth, but it's very loose Defender. I mean, we don't even have the radar for Defender. We don't have anyone to rescue for Defender. Yikes. And it's loud. Uh-oh, Squadron was destroyed. Did I go too slow? I'm supposed to go faster. Let's see if I'm supposed to scroll. No, if I scroll, looks like the enemies just stay in the same spot. What's this at the top? Do I have to get that? And we get a death march when we play, and then it goes right back to attract mode. Yikes. So this one is a shoot 'em up, a scrolling shoot 'em up. The 173rd video game we've played that is a scrolling shoot 'em up. This is the 107th shoot 'em up on home computers, and the 21st that we played on the Commodore VIC-20 alone. So far, the best shoot 'em ups that you can play on the Commodore VIC-20 have been Astro Blitz, River Rescue, Spiders of Mars, K-Star Patrol, Sidewinder, and games like that. So I understand how this is working with the digital joystick, which is kind of nice. But there's one thing I forgot. Let's go in again, because we did have the Smart Bomb. If you push spacebar, it actually looks like the game glitches out. But you have a super special bomb. But we're missing a lot of things to really call this a Defender clone. It's bare bones Defender. It's another one of those Commodore VIC-20 games, though, that your mom's gonna hate because it sounds just terrible. Oh, and Charlie said he'd rather play this one than the Alien Swarm one. I was more into the Alien Swarm one. This one feels like it's a little bit... notice that the enemy patterns and how you're moving seem a little bit blocky, but whenever they die, they leave the screen so smooth. It is fast-paced. I got a lot of firepower, but actually, because we didn't get a lot of documentation or information, am I losing? Oh, I'm supposed to probably defend that base. Don't go near the base. Ooh, or die. Yikes. So there's a lot of things missing from this one. This one is one of the contenders for one of the worst Defender games we've seen up to this point. This is the 42nd variant of Defender we've played so far, or a scrolling shoot 'em up that allows you to go left and right, basically. And some of the worst ways you could play Defender right now would be Avenger on the TRS-80 color computer, Meteor Run on the Commodore VIC-20, and Rear Guard on the Atari home computer. Rear Guard on the Atari home computer. So, man, this one's rough. All right, there's our quick taste of Annihilator. We annihilated them, or they annihilated us. I would still be okay playing the game, but there's a lot more that's out there that'd be better than this, because I would say this is close, but not as good as something like Aggressor, Andy's Attack, or Defenda that we played on Commodore VIC-20. And for all the games that I mentioned before, it's not really, I wouldn't say the worst of the worst, but it's low. Of all the games you could play, I'm thinking bad just because it just feels like there's things unpolished. Enemies are showing up on the screen from everything we've seen up to this point. And we are going to see this later on the Commodore 64 because by law, all video games have to be ported to the Commodore 64. So looking in the chat, I got a subpar 2.5 stars from some people. I got a 1.5, 2.5. I'm actually, no one said 2 stars, but I was actually thinking more like 1.5 to 2 stars of all the games you could play on all home computers. It's kind of contentious. I'm somewhere between 1.5 and 2. I know, right? These shows are going so fast, right? All right, so I'll say of all the games you could play, this is a 1.5 one. Oh, maybe I should say 2. It's not as good as, yeah, it's not as good, but I'll also say, yeah, I'll say 2 stars. It's not a 2.5 thing, yeah. But I'll say 2 stars for all the games you could play on all home computers. Annihilator's okay, but it's still, I would consider it bad. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Jeremiah. All right, after that game, let's see what our next release is. Coming up next, we're playing the latest release for the Atari home computer. This is Anteater. Don't get too excited, though. It's not the Anteater from the arcade. I really thought it was. This isn't the one by Tago Electronics. This is a completely different Anteater. How could they do that? This is the 427th game we've played on the Atari home computer, 400 or 800, and it's by Romox. Take a look at that box. The 6th video game we've seen by Romox up to this point. It looks like most of the Romox boxes. They have ants and then an interesting artwork in the center of the screen. But we flip it over the back and it's a 1 or 2 player game. After you insert the cartridge and before you push start, you can select 1 or 2 players. The object of the game is survival. You gain points by moving the ant with a joystick from the colony to the food on the surface and back to the colony. However, when the ant breaks through the surface, he exposes himself to the deadly anteater. Interesting. It's a completely different game. The ant is armed with 5 deadly eggs that explode seconds after the fire button is depressed on the joystick, or the ant may maneuver the anteater under a falling rock. The ant moves faster than the anteater when traveling in tunnels, so you can adjust your distance for laying the delayed eggs or retracing your steps. You have 3 ants at the start of the game. Returning all 4 cubes to the colony completes the set and gives you an extra ant. On the second set, you have to evade 2 anteaters and then 3, and it gets progressively more difficult. Good luck. Sounds like we'll need it. Do we have any other artwork for Anteater? Yeah, and someone's already bringing up Dig Dug. Yep, it is definitely Dig Dug-like. So this is one of the ads you would have seen a little bit later in magazines for the Atari home computer. It has the cartridge, and again, that artwork. Artwork kind of reminds me of Centipede, but most of the games that have insects or insects-themed games remind me of Centipede. And there's the example of the screenshot. Here we go. This one had a second version that was released in 1983. We're going to check out the very first version here in December. The beginning of December 1982. This is by Ed Freeze. Way to go, Ed. Let's play some Anteater. Now, this is the second time we've seen Ed Freeze. He did Princess and Frog on the Atari home computer. Oh, and he's giving us music. That's pretty slick. Or we should say, way to go, Eddie, because he calls himself Eddie this time. It goes right into an attract mode, very, very flashy. So if we wanted to, we can switch between a 2-player or 1-player game, but that's the only options. If you do a 2-player game, you're going to do hot seat multiplayer. Ready? And we're in. I am the ant in the bottom left corner. It gives me little sounds as I dig through, and I can make whatever path I want because now I'm going to be trying to get all of the eggs in the top left down in the bottom right, which, by the way, the bottom right looks like this. So you can see my little anthill down in the bottom right is a small little circle. That's where you're trying to get everything into. All right, here we go. Ready? And go right here. And I think I can get... Oh, I can't get him from the bottom. I have to actually expose myself, go to the top, and then come down. But check this out. As you dig, you drop rocks exactly like Dig Dug. Watch this. I can do the exact same thing that I did with the other games. Just dig a little spot, and then it drops. It's completely ripping off Dig Dug or Mr. Do, you know, whatever your flavor. So you pick up one of these, and look, I have the ability to drop a bomb to blow up the anteater, and it worked pretty good that time. And as I move around in the tunnel that I dug, I go a lot faster. And whenever you are digging, you slow down. So now the anteater has a hole to get down there, but I think we can still gather all the eggs. Let's try it out. Let's go make a path over here, and let's just go straight down. Let's see if he... Yeah, I don't think he'll take this one. It'll go right behind my head. All the way, got it. And then, oh, I gotta get out of here. Quick, take the tunnel up. Run! And I can run faster than the anteater like that. Looks pretty good. I can also lure him. This is really fun. This is awesome. All right, I'm going to make another tunnel over here on the left side. And I still have a few bombs I could use. But I'm already loving this. If you're a fan of Dig Dug, you would have a blast. Drop it off. He's not going to take the eggs. Ooh, I might be able to kill him here. Let's see. Got him. It's always satisfying, whether you're playing Dig Dug or Anteater. How many people were confused, though? Because Anteater is in the arcades, and it's a completely different game. It's going to be done or redone later as a game called Oil's Well by Sierra Online. It hasn't been done yet, but this game, I would argue, is better than the Anteater in the arcade, and we're playing it at home, on a home computer. This is so fun. And yes, James brings up, it's like Dig Dug and Bomberman. Yeah, because I'm laying bombs? Totally, right? Go. Yes, kill the Anteater, but another one just respawns right in the exact same place. Let's see if we can still take the last egg. Go down here. We're getting also constant music playing at the same time, which is a really nice touch for any video game right now. So the quality for this is great. All right, we got our last egg. We move on to the next area, and I think they're going to add a second Anteater in if we give it enough time. But every level is take all the eggs in the top left, get them down on the bottom right, and have fun killing, stunning, temporarily disabling the Anteater with rocks and your 5 bombs. So cool. All right, so at this point on the show, this is the 17th video game that we played that involves digging, or a digging mechanic. This is the 46th video game where insects are a major point of the game. Bug-style games have been around for a while now. It's also a game that's using classical public domain music, so add that one to your list. This one is on, from my research, a cartridge size of 8 kilopower. So it's not the biggest we've seen, but still bigger. It's one of the same sizes you would see like on the Atari 5200. And it's obviously a variant of Dig Dug. Up to this point, we played Dig Dug games like Robbie Roto, The Pit, Mr. Do, Wiping, and Digger. And official Dig Dug is available on the Sword M5 that we've already seen, and we give that one 4.5 stars. This one, I would say maybe often more than that as far as like the quantity or the freedom you have, because playing as the ant roaming around, it works great. It works so good. We are going to see this game later on the Commodore VIC-20 and the Texas Instruments home computer in 1983. You would have played it right here first, December 1982 on the Atari home computer. Let's see if we can just blow him by another one. Oh, he didn't come after us. Yeah, so I look over the chat. I got some 4 stars of all the games you could play on all home computers. Yeah, this is really fun. For you really have the ability to play official Dig Dug right now, and so it's awesome. Yeah, and the fact that it's blending together. Someone mentioned Bomberman. Bomberman doesn't exist either. There's no such thing as Bomberman. So of all the games you could play across all home computers, Anteater is top-notch. It's very, very good. I'm saying like starting the rating at 4 stars for everything you could play on home computers, just because of how rare it is to see and play a game like this, Dig Dug. So I see, I'm also a fan of Dig Dug, so that might affect my rating too. So I see a 4.5 from James. Yeah, right. And the Atari, it helps because Atari computers are so good. Barclay saying 4.5 stars. I don't know if it's a 4 because the Trek game was a 4. And Mike's saying 3.5 stars. Yeah, I would say Anteater is it's difficult because the Dig Dug on the Sword M5 was a very, very well done Dig Dug. I actually want to say this one is around the same level for it. So I really don't want to call this less than that because it's very well done. It's good. 4 stars there. Yes, and you dig tunnels to actually make it as your strategy works pretty good. So I'm going to say 4.5. I'm going to say it's up to par with the Dig Dug we saw officially on the Sword M5. Maybe even better than that, depending on your flavor. And I see another 4-star from Marshall out there. I want to keep playing it. Another staple for a great video game right now. All right, that's where we got to put our video game playing on pause. Thanks everyone for joining me, checking out the video games released in the beginning of December 1982, especially everyone that's here for the live show. I see everyone over there. Thanks so much for joining. Next time on Chronologically Gaming, a collection of arcade games for the BBC Micro, an Asteroid Storm, a Space Invaders ripoff, and one of the highest rated Atari home computer games. That's it for today, and like I always say, Scotty already told you he can't give you any more power. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.